Hello, my name is Martin Lechner and I'm an addict. I'm addicted to collecting oceanic and African art. We had a holiday home in Fiji and we used to go up there regularly, and we had friends stay, and one friend, an Auckland architect, left as a gift a massive 2-volume text about primitive art. And so up in Fiji you've got lots of time on your hands, so in the evenings I was reading this book and I got absolutely hooked.
Would you say these pieces here are some of your favourite pieces you've collected?
Actually, everything's a favourite piece. I wouldn't buy it or grab it unless it was. But these items here are a bit remarkable. And this one here, which is a solid from one tree carved rainwood stool, is a Papua New Guinean's orator stool. Here's the start of a paddle collection. And here we have Paddle Mania. But you ain't seen nothing yet with all the paddles. Okay, so confession time. This is what addiction really looks like. It's crazy, isn't it? So this is my lair. Jill thinks it's her office as well. Alright, we're not quite at the end of the paddles yet, but this is a very significant piece of New Zealand history and art. This paddle was carved, intricately carved by a very well-known Rotorua carver called Tene Waiteri, and he carved a pair of them. The other one is in the Canterbury Museum. On the reverse, this is typical of paddles like this, a kowhaiwhai pattern. What's not typical though, normally the kowhaiwhai is painted, but this is carved in relief. Now, no less intricate are these Austral Island paddles, and they're also becoming increasingly rare, and the work on them is just amazing. And you know, they did it with either a very sharp stone or a rat's tooth on a stick. These are only available now in their damaged state, and this is typically what happens. There's only 2.5 of the little heads left on that, and this one I'm ready to put in my workshop, and I'll be carving those heads. The first one I did, I carved about 10 heads to be able to use 2, but I'm getting a bit better at it now, so it's about 2 for 1. And when that's done, they'll be like these. And these are restored paddles which I've got. So all of those were missing these heads, and I've carved these and put them on them. And because they're so rare, no one can do work like this anymore. I feel it's very important to preserve and to be able to do that. And the wood carving starts in the traditional way and finishes in the Japanese way. These are Japanese chisels that we stored from a visit to Japan, and that's beautiful steel and very, very sharp. So this is what they call a grade figure. It's from Vanuatu, or one of the islands in Vanuatu. It was missing this ear and it was missing the tip of its nose, so that's a restoration. I've just glued and tinted those first, but when I cover the whole lot in coconut oil, it'll merge so that you won't be able to ever see it. And it was basically jammed into the ground in front of the hut where the young boys were to be initiated.
So what percentage would you say of your collection is more contemporary and artistic pieces versus the more practical pieces that are being used or have been used?
Good question. They sort of merge into each other. So if you're really, really lucky, you can pick up an antique piece, a genuinely antique piece that is worthwhile as a piece of art in itself. Sometimes it's damaged, but it's still great. And this neckrest I got in South Africa in Cape Town would signify it. And I said before, I don't have an absolute favourite piece, but it's one of those I'd grab if we were running out of the house that was on fire.
Do you prefer having those authentic pieces that have all that story and history behind them, as well as finding new pieces?
Yeah, anyone would like an authentic piece, but they are almost completely priced out of the market now. They're in museums and in the collections of extremely wealthy collectors in Europe and the US particularly. Some of those collections are better than the museum collections and are the subject of vanity books with very professional photography, and it's sort of a vanity book, and I guess they're showing off with pride their great collection. I prefer the museums so that anyone and everyone can go there, but we don't have any museum pieces here I can think of that I feel guilty about. And if anything, I've been buying damaged things because I can afford them, and I back myself to repair them. I'm hoping to put a collection together to tour the schools, and there's a high demographic or high proportion of Polynesian students here, so I'm hoping that they will respond well to that. Can I ask, have you been to the museum and seen the collections there, the Pacific Halls?
I
Oscar?
have, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Has the museum ever come to you, to any of your schools?
Never.
See, they've got a schools unit, and it's just too much ground to cover. So I'm hoping there'll be a place for a little touring collection. And also, it won't be stuff that we're precious about. It'll be stuff that you go in the paddock and you throw a spear, you hit it with a shield, you try a boomerang and see if you can make it go back, blow a didgeridoo or a didgeridoo. So there we go. But it's still all in formation. Who knows where it'll end up?